Now, how many of you are familiar with Bain Company before Mitt Romney? One of the top strategic firms in the nation. Now, Bain, and this is a good case study for you to benchmark what a successful process really looks like. At Bain, they have a process that they call the profit hunt. They look for key initiatives and drivers within a business, and they look to bring value to that business. They describe it by saying, we take you from PowerPoint presentation to implementation. We're not going to put a big book on your shelf. We're going to take you from PowerPoint to implementation. They say half of the profit uplifts come from increasing revenues, not trying to cut costs for the business. And then Bain is able to prove their value proposition by saying their clients outperform the S&P 500 by a factor of 4 to 1. Pretty compelling. If you're the CEO of a good-sized company, wouldn't you want the profit hunt? A number of years ago, one of my directors, Charlie Lynch, was the head of a New York Stock Exchange large food conglomerate in San Francisco. And he told me that the board was struggling with a major issue, and one of the directors suggested they bring in McKinsey and Company because it's a big brand name to come help solve the problem. So as they were explaining the issue, someone else said, you know, I'm on the board of another company, and Booz Allen is a major firm. We'd like to have them come in. And then the discussion got into, let's have a little bake-off. So this director, Fred, was sitting at the end of the table, and this goes back about 18 years ago. Fred said, well, what about Bain? And all of the heads whipped around and said, who? They go, Bain. You never heard of Bain Consulting? One of the top strategic firms in the nation? They said, bring them to the dance. We'll listen to their story too. Every firm came in, and I would venture to say many of you present this way, and they told their story. They said, here's who we are, what we do, how we do it, and who we've done it with. Bain did a case study. They went and did research. They read Merge before the book came out, or maybe that's where some of the research came from. And they did a case study on the company. And they came to the table and said, we've done some research on your industry and on your company. We know the products that you're offering. We know the profit margins based on our research. And in Merge, there's a whole section to talk about how you research a company. And they said, you know, we noticed that one key driver is your distribution. And we noticed that in the next 18 months, that 50% of your leases are up on your warehouses. And we looked at the locations of your warehouses to the rail stations. And we believe in the first 12 months, we can bring $4.2 million to your bottom line by that one initiative by itself. They named two others, and Charlie said these people were like into doing the work before everyone else is saying, well, we have all these clients, we have all of these MBAs from all of the Ivy League schools, here's who we are. They were bringing them back to talk about the buying vision of what they could do. So Bain made the finals, not surprisingly, and then Charlie said in the final minutes they brought him into the boardroom and said, we got good news and bad news. Good news is, other than Fred here, no one ever heard of Bain, but you guys obviously know our business, you know it well, you found key drivers, you did your homework, and we're impressed. The good news is we're going to hire you. The bad news is we're not going to give you the whole project immediately. We want you to work with one of our divisions, get to know them, help them, and then maybe it'll roll up to the whole project. Now these two young consultants, if you can visualize this, sat at the end of the table and said, you know, we're flattered we made the finals, and we're flattered you selected us, but we're going to pass. And the board said, you're going to pass? They go, you know, and we know the problems are not with the division, it's in the whole enterprise. And we would feel bad because we don't think we could bring you the value by just working with your division. So they stuck to the process. They said, why don't you wait in the lobby for a few minutes? We'd like to talk about it. It took them about less than 3 minutes, and they go, we know, they're right. They brought him back in, they hired him, they billed $1 million a month for 11 months. They stayed with the process, the profit hunt. So if you're the CEO of a major company, you're explaining it this way, this is what drives value. You involve the prospect in the process. You help the prospect buy into the value gap, take control of the selling process. When you took that approach that Bain took, you took control of the selling process. They weren't selling products and services and solutions, they were analyzing the business. Lead prospects to your solution, don't lead with your solution.